Hi everyone, hello.
Hi everyone, welcome to Mindset, your weekly live stream giving you the tools and knowledge to manage your mental health and well-being. Have we introduced ourselves yet?
Yeah, we have not. What is your name?
So my name is Virginia.
And my name is Barbara, and we are joined by our Mindset resident therapist, Darryl. Say hello, Darryl.
Hello.
And we are joined by the Mindset backstage crew. Well, they'll be monitoring the questions and making sure the tech works.
Absolutely, thank goodness for that. And speaking of tech, today's session we're going to cover some more practical skills. And Mindset is put together by therapists, the staff at Body and Soul, and people with lived experience of mental health. We know what works, and we want to deliver those tools to you in a practical and accessible way. And today we are going to have a practical session where, well, that's over to Darryl and Virginia. So I'm going to pop into the studio. Virginia's going to pop in here.
So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to try to have a little snippet of a live session and maybe discuss perfectionism and how helpful that can be. Because imagine if you're here, it is one of the difficulties that you're facing. So
I'm not used to sitting out here.
wow. Very different. You're very nervous, and so you should be. This is going to be worse than hell.
No.
Yeah. So if we're going to talk about perfectionism, and that's something that you found.
Yeah, I struggle with that a lot. So it's like I've noticed that when when things don't go my way, I just get really tense and I don't really know how to communicate that with other people. So I just kind of pretend that it's not there and then just carry on.
So can you think about sort of things that you feel that you're perfectionistic about? Like how do you like? I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know. Your books need to be in a certain way, or that you can't make a mistake when you're speaking, or in your work, or. So can you tell me something that's like what the perfectionism, something that you do that's affected by the perfectionism?
So say I'm working and I got given a task to so I got this to-do list, and if I don't manage to get through everything on the list, I'll get really frustrated.
Okay, so is that like a set of work tasks?
Yes.
Like in one day, would it be?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you think of a particular day in the last 3 months, like a specific day in the last 3 months where you've had that list of things to do that you maybe didn't get through? The more recent, the better.
I think I still try to get through it, but I shouldn't stay that long doing that. Shouldn't. Like, it's like I could do it maybe with 80% effort, but I don't want it to look horrible, so I spend more time.
Okay. So when does that happen this week?
No, last week.
Last week. Okay. So what day was it last week?
I'm not sure. I remember.
Okay. So one day last week you had a list of things that you what did you set yourself a task to get through the whole list of things?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think it's quite tricky because it's art and it's quite subjective, and I don't know, if I see that thing as ugly, then I don't know what skill I could use to make it not ugly when it's.
The ugly would be your evaluation.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's my judgment.
Okay. So the day you were thinking about last week, what started you thinking, this is the list of things I've got to. So what was the driving thought? Was it I've got to get through this, or this is not good enough, or what started you thinking that you're not going to get through your list?
I think it's wanting to keep performing.
Okay. So what was the thought? I need to keep performing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to maintain the consistency and quality.
I need to maintain. So that's the starting thought. So I need to maintain consistency. Are you consistent?
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah. So I need to maintain the consistency. And on that day, what was going on that, like, was there anything that made, I don't know, anything that made you vulnerable to,
Yeah.
yeah?
So I didn't sleep very well.
Okay, so poor sleep,
And
yeah.
didn't have breakfast.
So poor sleep, not eating, yeah. Anything else? Have you got like, is there like a history of maybe perfectionism?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. So
I think it's like internalized.
right. Do you constantly criticize yourself about other things as well for not being perfect then?
I'd say because now that I've got the awareness, I don't criticize myself, but then I would still kind of repeat old patterns.
Okay. Okay. And what about your family? Have your family got high perfectionism?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how far does that go back? Like, is it your mom, your grandparents, or your dad, or how?
The whole family.
The whole family, like going. So your parents and siblings.
Yeah, they're all high achievers.
Okay. So you've had that pressure for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So poor sleep, not eating, parents and siblings. Anything else?
I think it's also my experience studying at uni.
So yeah, studying it.
So because I did graphic design, and I always get given briefs that are very specific, and I have really tight deadlines.
Yeah.
So if I don't stick to the deadline, I'll fail them. I'll think that I'll fail, and then I won't be able to.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I need to maintain consistency. Do you have a belief that you're gonna fail? Like if I don't do this, I'm going to fail.
I think before I used to think more of that.
What would that be? Like this would be a sort of.
I think before, when I first graduated, I thought if I don't get a job, then I'm a failure.
Right. So would you say that there's a constant vulnerability about believing you're a failure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or just not performing.
Okay. So so if you want to be perfect, right? So do you want perfect? Is that like 100 out of 100?
No. I'd say before it's more of that, but now it's like I want a bit of perfect, but also room for me to breathe.
Right. So okay. So tell me what did the need to be perfect? What did it do to you? Do you think? Like if you were to look at it subjectively, right? When you were driving for that 100%, what was the thing that was driving it? Like the thoughts. So I need to be 100% because otherwise this, otherwise that.
I think when I'm in that zone, I just get really critical of everything.
Okay. So yeah. So did you notice like?
And I noticed that I could stress my friends out when I'm in that.
Okay. So critical of everything, stressed your friends out. What about like noticing it like in your body? You know, like you've got to get through a whole list of things. Do you notice any?
So I notice I get headaches.
Headaches, yeah.
And digestion issues.
Yeah, like digestion issues. You mean like your stomach rumbles or you need a toilet?
It's bloated.
Yeah. So the bloated stomach.
Because I notice when I get stressed, I eat a lot.
Okay.
I eat and I eat really fast, so I guess I eat a lot of air as well.
Okay.
So that's why it's bloated.
So it makes you eat fast. What else? So when you're striving for that 100%, you get critical of everything you do. You stress people, friends around you. You get headaches, digestion, bloated stomach. It makes you eat faster.
Yeah.
Anything else that happens? I
Um,
mean, it sounds fun as it is, but anything else?
I guess I get disappointed because I'm not able to achieve, and then I start crying.
Right, so you get disappointed in yourself.
So I get depressed and burnt out.
You get disappointed in yourself, you get depressed, burnt out. Gosh. If you were an advert for perfectionism, I don't know. Right, burnout. What else? So you've got.
And I constantly feel like I have no social life.
Okay. Do you give up things when you're striving for
Yeah.
perfection? What do you do? What do you like? Do you give up seeing? What do you do? Tell me.
Maybe give up socializing for
Right.
making stuff.
You stay home to finish things.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay home to finish things. Okay. Anything else? It's a lot, but you might have some other.
I think that's it.
Yeah. Okay. You know when maybe you got through your list, everything's done. What does that give you? Like, how do you feel when you've got that?
It's like relief.
Yeah, and how long does that relief last for?
Maybe over the end of that day.
So what time might you finish?
Like 7.
7 o'clock. So you'd be working all day to go. What time do you start work?
9:30.
So go from 9:30 a.m. till 7 p.m. getting through the list, and it gives you relief from 7 till when?
7 till 8 a.m.
So you get about an hour. So you get about an hour's relief. Okay.
Oh, 8 a.m.
Oh, so you get relief all the way until the next day.
Yeah.
And then it starts again.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and tell me about that relief. What's that like? So do you then like?
It's like, oh, finally I can shut down.
So finally I can shut down. Do you then have would you then like go out and party and treat yourself to great food
I usually, because I'm not really a party person, I usually buy food and cook something that I like to eat.
Right. So do you reward yourself?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. So you reward yourself with what? Something nice to eat.
Yeah. Not like fast food.
Okay. And how long does that last? So basically for getting through, so for working a nearly 10-hour day, striving for perfectionism, you get something nice to eat as a result of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. As well as, let me just check. So how long does the being critical of everything, being stressed around friends, how long are those, the headaches, the digestion, the bloated stomach, the disappointment in yourself, the depression, the burnout, how long has that lasted?
Quite a while.
Yeah. From what age?
Like 12.
So you've had, okay. So you've got years of all of these things for about 11 hours of relief where you can finally eat something that you like.
I guess it's because I'm in a different space right now. I'm not with my parents. I live by myself with other flatmates. So it's like less pressure.
Okay. Does that sound worth it for you?
To experience all that?
Yeah.
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Have you ever thought of it this way before? About the timing and the effect on you and the short term versus the long term?
No.
Okay. So what we've done there, and we'll put this up on the Instagram thing, is we've done a bit of a pros and the cons of perfectionism and seeing how that's worked out for you. So if you were to think back to this cycle that you're in, every day of doing this, would you, like, I don't know, say you had your best friend and you know all of this information, well, what would you say to him or her? Like if they were saying to you, look, this is the lifestyle that I'm going to go for. I'm gonna get up every day. I'm gonna work on and on. I'm gonna have all. What would you say to them? Would you say to do it?
I would say don't forget to take breaks and stay hydrated.
Would you give them anything else? Would you say this is the life? Is this the life that you want? Would you say to a friend of yours, this is, I'd recommend this, your daily life? Would you say that you recommend it to them?
I don't want to recommend this, but
Go on. That but, let's see if that but makes you or
I
them feel
just
better.
I just have the perception that if you work in the creative industry, you have to constantly work really hard.
Is that a fact though? Because I bet there are people that work creatively that I mean, I know people that work creatively that don't. They just sit down at a desk and they do things for a few hours. So this is a belief that you believe that you have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever tried to do it differently?
Uh,
Like, have you ever tried to work shorter days, be fresh, take breaks, be hydrated?
I think what I've tried is to not take on so many things at once.
Okay. And how's that worked?
Oh, it's better, yeah.
Yeah?
Definitely
Yeah,
not
yeah.
as stressed as before.
Yeah. Because the thing about perfectionism, you see, is perfectionism is really a standard that can't be met because there's almost nothing in the world that's perfect. So it's a kind of a way of really keeping criticism, self-criticism going. Yeah. Particularly if you've had a lot of criticism growing up about, you know, to produce. And actually, so I wonder if that's where it really comes from. It's just been your way of surviving, or your family's way of surviving over, over some time, and it's just something that you just need to keep going now.
I think when I was with my family, I used to think that, because my sister is very high achieving, I have to be on par.
Yeah.
But now because I'm separate from them, I still feel the pressure, but not as much.
Yeah. So I have a question for you, just to think about. Would you rather be perfect or happy?
Happy.
You sure? Okay. So of all the people that, because the thing is that you can't actually. It's unlikely that you're going to have both. You see, because the amount of effort that it takes for perfectionism, and you can see it in your life, the amount of perfectionism that it takes, it does actually gets in the way of being happy. So what would you say to people listening about, because you want to do 100%, right? Perfectionism is about 100%. What do you think you would say to people to settle for?
What would I say to?
Yeah, just to people listening, or to Barbara, or to anyone. What would you say is a thing to aim for?
Walking the middle path.
Walking the middle path, which is what?
Which is having your standards, but at the same time be flexible about it.
So kind of like doing the best you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things we can put up on Instagram is for people to think about, start to think about it in a different way. So, so Virginia was thinking, I need to maintain consistency. I need to be perfect. Well, that's a mantra, and we can have other mantras in our life that are less stressful, where we can put down things like, I'm going to do the best I can. So one of the things for me at university was that I wanted to get 100 all the time. Yeah, I want to get a 98, 100 all the time. And then into my second year, someone said to me, you get the same mark if you get 70 as if you get 100. You get the same mark at the end of the degree and stuff. So I started thinking, well, what's the point? What's the point of getting 100? Or some people might want to do things like good enough. Can I just be good enough?
That's also my uni experience. So in my first year, at the end of the year, because I worked really hard throughout the year, and I found out that it's a pass or fail. So even if you get lots of A's, in the end you still get a pass. If you get a C, it's still a pass. So it makes no difference.
Yeah. And I remember I missed out all the fun, all the drinking and messing around and the cheat. But I missed out all of that in the first year because I was just focused in on. So it's also about what you miss out. I missed all of that.
Yeah.
So that's what you've got to decide. So I think for Instagram we could put up, for people to have ways to remind themselves, about what they're aiming for. Are they aiming for perfection? Are they aiming for happiness? How are they going to keep, like, what am I thinking? How are they going to keep bringing themselves back to it, just enough? Because if you ever try to overcome feelings of, if you feel useless and you try to overcome that with feeling useful, eventually you'll end up a little bit like with Virginia, where you just get burnt out, and then suddenly a meal is the highlight of it.
So Darryl, what do you want people to practice? Like, what are some practical things they can do then if they find perfectionism to be a thing?
Yeah. So the first thing is to think about the pros and cons. So what the pros and cons would be is, what are the benefits of being perfect, and what are the consequences of being perfect, and then what are the benefits of not being perfect, and the consequences of not being perfect.
Okay.
And people can think about that as a specific incident, a specific day or a specific thing that they want to
What do you mean?
perfectionism about. Well, they could think about it like, I want, like Virginia, which is to get through my to-do list today.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Or you could think about it in terms of being the best human, I want to be a perfect, I don't know, size
inspirational
6
leader, or
yeah,
size
perfect.
6.
Yeah. So it can be, and they can do it in the short term or the long term. They can do, what are the pros and cons of being perfect now, or the pros and cons of being perfect forever, or what are the pros and cons of being perfect on my friends, on my family. What are the benefits? What benefits do the people I love have from me being perfect, and what are the consequences of it and of not? So you might spend more time, with friends and family if you're not so obsessed with it. You might, I don't know, you might get to enjoy the weather a little bit more. There's all sorts, just so the thing is not to decide, it's not to just, people have a rigid thinking about perfectionism. They just want it, but when they examine it, it really unravels quite quickly. So these are mechanisms for helping them unravel it, and then it's good to have a reminder, something that encapsulates your plan to not just chase perfectionism all the time.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. So what you can see now on that Virginia's live scribing. Thank you, Virginia, because I can't live scribe, otherwise I would have tried, but it would have looked horrible. Whoops, judgment. I was there first. Caught you. Thank you, Virginia. You can see on the screen that that Virginia is doing a chart, right? So this is something that you can do. You can do at home. So think of a situation where you want to be perfect, right? And then just make a little chart like that, and then you can fill that out. And then what I do is I have my chart, and then you can literally just stick it on your phone or stick it up on your wall or whatever. And then when you get tempted to go into those habits of, I don't know, working 18 hours a day or something like that, then you can be like, no, I will look at my chart and think about it and just make a conscious decision to do something different, right? Does that kind of encapsulate it?
Yeah. There was a question up, which...
Oh, yeah. So Olivia says, are there recommendations to help not get the feeling of guilt when you don't complete a list that you have written?
Well, you would only get guilt if you truly believed that you must be perfect. So if you let go of the idea that you must be perfect, what you would do is just not engage with that thinking. And if what you would do is you would ignore it long enough that your brain would start to experience the other benefits of not being perfect. And then that becomes the reward in itself. So you might notice that you feel less tired, or so if we took Virginia as an example, she's likely to get better sleep. She's likely to be less critical, stress her friends out less, headaches, digestion, bloated stomach, disappointment in herself. All of those things would change. And then after the first 6 weeks, that becomes the motivation in itself. So,
then you see the results. Right?
Yeah. So Olivia, let go of it for 6 weeks. Just let go of it for 6 weeks and see how it works out, because you can always go back to feeling guilty for not being perfect later on. Try it out 6 weeks, see what happens.
Yeah, that definitely works for me. I can testify. Yep. But that's having a limit to it as well. Is telling yourself, okay, I just have to try this for 6 weeks. Well, you don't have to do anything, but just giving yourself that, and then yeah, and then you find out that, oh, darn it, yeah, he was right. It does have benefits to do that. So yeah, okay, brilliant. So anything else you want to say about that, about perfectionism, about other things people might do if they're beating themselves up, or would this be?
You could ask, isn't it? Do you want to be perfect or do you want to be happy? Because they do not go well.
Yeah.
They don't go well.
No, they don't work. Yeah.
And such a small percentage of well, no one really gets it. 0.0000001% of people maybe do it. And, if you're here, luck is probably not on your side anyway. And those people that get it are lucky. So, well, think about it. The odds are not in your favor. Really, the odds are not in your favor. And you can just ask yourself, how's it worked out so far, right?
But the other thing I was thinking is that because what I find is that how can I say it? Like when you really care about something, when you really want to do something well, and it's a sign that you care, it can be, I think, because maybe you're good at it. You could be good at it if you put the work in and stuff like that. So,
but this is not about doing something to the best you can.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you don't. What am I trying to say? Even people that are really good at things, like for me, I was getting all upset because I was like, oh, I can't do comedy. And then like somebody who's really good, she threw up on her first course, and I was like, oh, okay, well, she's not.
But the thing about
perfect.
The thing about this is that in history there's nothing. There's been no football teams that have won every match. There's been there's been no one that's got 100 out of 100 in every exam. There's no one that's been perfect.
Yeah.
So that's the pitfall.
There's a question that I can't see. Oh, now I can see it. Okay. So Rand says, perfection stops me from doing anything because I get overwhelmed. Oh, I can relate to that. Are there any suggestions on how to deal with that anxiety?
Yes, I would say there would be some body scans, some breathing exercises, and acting opposite to it. So you can embrace it, isn't it? So, because actually that's the thing about perfectionism is it actually just stops most people doing stuff. That's when it becomes a real danger, because you're striving so much to be perfect that you don't get anything done. So that even further becomes self-defeating.
Yeah.
So I would think about mindfulness exercises and breathing exercises before you approach a task, and maybe setting the other great one is setting timers. Just set a timer. I'm going to do this for this long, and then wherever you are, just leave it. Just when the timer goes off, just leave it and go back to it later on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Brilliant. So thank you so much, and thank you, Virginia, for doing that, and for this fabulous live scribe as well. It's really helpful. Okay. Right. So you have something to practice this week, right? Your pros and cons chart. With all the goodies in there. And we've learned that to get the most benefit from these tools, it is really important to practice. And there is an Instagram page for Mindset, which is @Share the Mindset. You can also find some resources at Body and Soul Charity, that Instagram as well. And we have our beautiful website, which is at
bodyandsoulcharity.org/mindset.
Mindset, yes. And that's where you have all the resources on one page. Thank you so much for tuning in today, everybody. We will see you again next week. And in the meantime, keep
working on your mindset.
You say it. That's amazing. Bye.
Bye.
Historic moment. Bye.